Welcome, welcome. I'm MTG Joe. Today we're going to be playing some ultra budget Gruul. So we're going to be continuing our series of ultra budget, mid budget, and no budget decks. So it's a really good tool as you're starting out. You might have some cards laying around and just seeing how you can eventually build towards a more constructed deck as you start accumulating your collection. So the theme of the ultra budget deck is going to be around just playing commons and uncommons as much as possible, with the exception of the dual lands. I feel like curving out is very important in a lot of lists, so that's something we want to keep in mind. If you're still pinched on the rare lands, you can use the guild gates or the tap lands. It might impact you in a small number of games, but if you are interested in the colors, getting at least the shock lands for now, with rotation still being well over a year for these, would be something reasonable. The rest of the deck is all uncommons or uncommons, with exception of the free cards that you get. So you get a Rekindling Phoenix in the black-red sacrifice deck, I believe, and you also get a Carnage Tyrant. So those are the only mythics in the deck outside of everything else. So if we look at the rest of the deck, the theme of this deck is kind of more of aggressive. Unfortunately for the Gruul Midrange list, they tend to have a lot more rares in it, so it's a little harder to play a traditional list. So what we're doing here is leveraging off of Rhythm of the Wild. So Rhythm of the Wild gives our creatures uncounterable, and it also gives them riot, so the creatures can either attack with haste or come in with a 1/1 counter on it and make them bigger. So this makes our more weenie creatures a little bit more effective. Then we have Llanowar Elves, which is ramp, really good to try to drop one of our 3 drops on turn 2. Kraul Harpooner, which can deal with flyers, but also with an interesting combination with Rhythm of the Wild. It comes in, and if you have a lot of creatures in your grave, it could come in as, say, a 7/2 that you give haste, then it could surprise attack an opponent down. There's Merfolk Branchwalker, which helps us smooth out our draws, get some lands off the top, and can become a 3/2 for 2 mana. Zhur-Taa is either a hasty 2/2 or a 3/3 for 2. Domri's Ambush is a way to fight creatures and serve as removal, but also just put a 1/1 counter on it to make it bigger. Vivien's Grizzly in this deck is going to be our card advantage. We don't have Vivien's itself or like the Domri's to dig, so we need a way to kind of keep refilling our hand if we flood out. Hallar Firefletcher. So we're not really playing kick spells, but this is a 3 mana 3/3 trampler where we have a number of ways to put counters to just make it a bigger trampler body. So I want to try that out. We have one Yanggu to put counters on our stuff, just make them bigger. The Rekindling Phoenix is the free card. This is something that's a very good spell, hard to deal with. And then I'm playing a Planeswalker package on the top end. So Angrath gives our creatures menace, which makes blocking a bit harder for your opponent. And it also creates some zombies. You have Samut, which gives all our creatures haste and can make them bigger. And then you have Arlinn, which makes effectively 3/3 wolves. And then it's got a high loyalty. So it's a pretty interesting kind of combination on the top end. In the other decks, you'll likely see Sarkhan, more Rekindling Phoenix, maybe Chandra as the rare. The sideboard's pretty straightforward. Lava Coils is removal, Collision Colossus versus the Flyers, or just more pump spells. Act of Treasons versus like the Gruul decks, or kind of more the mid-rangey. Steal their creature, could potentially win out of nowhere. Tibalt is to shut off life gain from like the Explore package. Also is pretty good against like weenie strategies since it makes blockers that can then ping other blockers. And then Thrashing Brontodon's, it's a good blocker. It's a 3/4 body for 3, and it can also deal with enchantments or artifacts. So we'll test this out. We are streaming live on YouTube right now. You'll notice in the top right hand corner we're trying out something new. So right now this stream isn't sponsored in any way, so we're looking to see if there's any tips. If you want, you can just drop a comment on loots, and then it'll play a short little ad on the corner that you can ignore, but it's just a way for me to try to get some monetization off the stream. I'm doing basically everything out of pocket right now, so it's just a way if you are enjoying. I don't believe it costs you anything. You just drop a comment and it'll show up on the stream. Let me know as well if you're finding it kind of annoying once the streams, like the videos go up, like the little ads. I'll look to take it off. I'm just trying to find a way until we get to the point with where YouTube monetization, just to get a little bit back for the time that we put into the stream. So we'll get started. As well as we get started, we will be playing best of 3 first, and then I'll do a couple games at the end where I play best of 1. I know that's a question that's come up a lot when we put up the write-up on the Reddit subreddit for MTG Arena. So this is something I'll do just so we can get a better idea of how it fares in both metas, both best of 1 and best of 3. For those joining live or you're new to the channel, I put out gameplay videos on YouTube, whether it's live or just offline. We'll play everything from tier 1 to budget decks to jank, pretty much a bit of everything. I really like playing really user-friendly decks in the sense that they are cheap to play. So this hand does nothing. So a mulligan. We'll keep. Here we got a lot of ramp, but we want something to pay off with it. It's not bad. So if you haven't checked it out on the Reddit sub-arena, if you ever want to chat, usually I'll post everything there. Here we're just going to double spell, I think. And then Jiang can start getting our creatures a bit bigger. I post basically the full write-up for these series, so I'll explain why our thoughts are there, anything that we can add, and then we can go from there. If you have any questions, you can drop it in the comments, or we can go from online. So this is a little awkward coming down now. I think we just do this so we can attack in. I'm probably okay trading an elf to block Jiang. I just want to put pressure on the opponent. This could be a Simic Proliferate deck. Would have liked to draw, obviously, the Rhythm before. What is this? Flying, whenever deals combat damage to a player, or Planeswalker, Proliferate. Okay, so the opponent's on a Proliferate theme. Here I'm actually going to double block. I don't want him to proliferate this bigger than our creature. Okay, so here... I think we just do this.
Teamwork is strength.
See if they block, and then just drop Rhythm of the Wilds. That way we just make the elf bigger. At the worst case, it's with haste, it's just a free spell that can tap for mana. So we'll see if they decide to attack in. They do.
What a workout.
So like this, we took off their ability to make a 3 toughness creature. Opponent's not putting much pressure, so I'll probably just set up another Rhythm. This makes any creature a lot more formidable. The elf's a 3/3 or a 2/2 haste. So opponent's thinking here. Jace's Projection. Whenever you draw a card, put a 1/1 counter on Jace's Protection, put a loyalty counter on target Jace. Oh, this might be the Planeswalker deck. That gets out of hand pretty quick. So we're going to force the opponent to block here. Otherwise we have lethal. So they can either trade with the elf or take 5. Okay, so Vitu-Ghazi. Interesting, but they can't block with it, and they're dead. So, odd choice there. They could have held this back. So, just take out the opponent there. If they just held this back, they could have kept this. Opponent might be new at the game. Alright, so what do we want in this matchup? They showed Vitu-Ghazi, so this is a good way of just stealing it. We want the Lava Coils in. What don't we want? Arlinn's not bad, Carnage Tyrant's not bad. Probably cut the Samuts. Grizzly. Probably cut the Grizzlies. We're likely going to want to go more aggro than our opponent. The Menace could be interesting. Might just shave the top end. Just try it like that. A lot of times when you're playing these like ultra budget, unless it's a very linear deck you're playing, it's a little tough because like you're playing a bunch of the best cards available. This hand's a little slow, but let's try it. We got the double rhythm, and then Domri's ambush can be used as removal. So here, just play out the elf. Would have liked that on 1, obviously, because then we could have had a rhythm on 2. Sweet art on these islands, though. Okay, so that actually worked out really good for us. I'm gonna opt. So the choice here is, do we take a turn in rhythm to set up, or we can Kraul Harpooner just to shoot this down now. The risk is if they play something else, they can proliferate on it, but then we can always Act of Treason or fight it. So let's attack with the elf, see if they block. And then just set up rhythm. Next turn we can rhythm again and play Kraul Harpooner. So stealth mission. So we want to get this up in toughness. So it's a 4 toughness. So we probably still fight it. So here... Yeah, we'll fight it. Takes a lot of their engine off. We have kind of run out of gas. I think we might have had a better advantage of just attacking in with haste there. And then stealing it. So we can... Let's just play the control game. Take that out, and then once they basically play anything big, we just start stealing. Like if they play a Vitu-Ghazi, they're missing green mana. This is the importance of dual lands. And this is where like having something like Vivien or just... I think we might want to put the Grizzlies back in. I want to try building around this maybe. Okay. So you're pretty big. So I think we just stay aggressive. It gets him down to 8. And then that goes to 5-7, so almost have him killed if they get a little too aggressive with their attacks. What? They're going to let us customize lands now, which is sweet, so these are definitely going to be our islands. So that's 5. Okay, so we're getting into a little risky territory. I think they might get us this game. Okay, so Kraul Harpooner gets haste. Put a counter, give it haste. So that's 7 damage. Just steal their blocker and then take them out. And this is why I really like Act of Treason in these budget decks. And with Rhythm, we just run out of nowhere. So that was the first game. We'll run it back for another. Again, this hand doesn't do a lot. Let's try it out. We don't know what our opponent's on. Opponent did mulligan to 5. Carnage Tyrant's the most difficult to deal with card in our deck. So if they're on a Thief plan, we're pretty good. Or Wild Growth, which is worse. Here... So that explores, it gets to... Let's play with the Kraul Harpooner, because next turn, even if they explore, unless they double explore with something like... Okay, so they can't double explore. We can fight one of these. Or... I think Rhythm's the safer play this turn. So they can double block. I'd rather kill one anyways. But we gotta be somewhat aggressive with hitting them for damage. Sweet. So because the opponent missed a land drop, I want to put as much pressure as possible. So let's give this haste. And I think library's fine. That's actually pretty good for us because we get to the 3 power that they can trade. So now we're going to hit them for 9 this turn. Rhythm's awesome. Especially against like control. Okay, so they cast down. Still force through a lot of damage. Next turn we can fight one of the Wild Growth Walkers. So again, we'll lead on the Branchwalker, see what we get, and then fight. Yeah, so opponent concedes. So we were aggressive enough that game. So in this match, we'll bring in the Tibalts for the life gain. Lava Coils and Act of Treason. Because we go long, do we want the elf? We're on the draw. Arlinn's probably too slow. Get rid of Samut. It's going to be a grindy game likely, so we'd want those. We're just going to cut the elf. We'll naturally draw into the lands, the game being longer. Yeah, we'll try this out. Land, like, we got early removal for Wildcrafter. We have Tibalt to shut off their life gain. So I'm just gonna do this now. So they play Branchwalker. Another Lava Coil is pretty good. So the play here, we need to decide if we want to go Rhythm. They're not putting much pressure on us, so I think that's fine. It's actually pretty good. We got rid of the Wildcrafter, it got rid of the Explore effect. So next turn I think we lead on the Branchwalker. Okay, so they play Brontodon. So I'm going to lead on the Branchwalker first in case we draw a land. Okay, but now I need the green, so we'll just play another. Okay, so this can trade now with the Brontodon. I may just opt with us having the 4th Lava Coil not to block this turn, because next turn we could Tibalt and Lava Coil. They're more incentivized to attack with Thrashing Brontodon this turn, however, because they know that we have the Lava Coil on top. So they just blow it up for the Rhythm. Surprised they didn't try to attack first. So the opponent goofed. So here I'm gonna get rid of one of them. And just attack in with this so that way they can't double block. And then just play out the Tibalt.
You don't look scared.
So we're actually taking it to Zhur-Taa Midrange, which is one of the more expensive decks in the format, actually. So they cast down the bigger Merfolk Branchwalker.
Oh, they're
So I'm just gonna hold off here. Okay, so they won't gain the life. Not really worried about Hostage Taker currently on our board. Let's just set up the Rhythm. So like they can Hostage Taker one of them. Or Jade Light instead. So if we block like this, hit one there, one to the opponent. So we really need a creature. We can take the Hydroid Crisis, smack him with it. question is... They're going to be able to deal with this. Can't really do much, so we're falling a little behind. Drawn quite a few lands this game. So they can attack with the elf. It's kind of dumb on the opponent's side. If they just would have attacked for the elf, they would have had it one smaller. They don't, it's not like they don't draw the card, but they would have gained a life. Just gonna hold the Stomping Ground in hand. Yeah. So now they're attacking. Act of Treason's lethal. Let's see what else, if we could draw anything. Yeah. Slowly falling behind. Yeah, they got us this game. So, we kind of flooded out there. Do we want the Arllinns? Maybe more than the Angrath. They're going to be playing a lot of creatures. Let's run it like that. Keep this hand. Just need lands. Merfolk Branchwalker can help us get there. Got something to deal with an early creature. Tibalt can stop the life gain. We're gonna have to graveyard that, unfortunately. That does kind of telegraph that we don't have the land for it. So we'll just get rid of Brontodon here. Missing line drops is going to hurt this game. They're 2 mana ahead of us. Could effectively have 4 power. So we're going to fight the Wildcrafter. They might have cast down. Probably have cast down. Yeah. Yeah. We lost this one. Missing the land drops that many turns and then them blowing up our... If we got that, we would have been in a much better spot. So we'll run back a couple games on best of 1. And see how we do in this match. So we might need to see if we need to tailor the deck a bit for a best of 1 version. Us having little to no removal main could be a problem. I'll take it. Probably lead Branchwalker. Could be Merfolk, could be a proliferate deck. Actually, probably should have led on Mountain. It bluffs that we have a shock. Okay, so we hit our land, which is good. They can adapt this. I'm gonna block. Force them to use the adapt here. And then I'm just gonna Zhur-Taa and Riot next turn. By Riot I mean put a 1/1 counter on it. Play out the elf this turn. So next turn we could Rhythm and Branchwalker. Okay. Gonna have to let them get the attack in. So hopefully get this up. At this point, we can put this in the graveyard, I think. And no attacks. So we want to be able to trade with this. This is giving him a lot of card advantage. This list may be playing Sleep. Yeah, so it's just like really tap him down, attack in. Wow. So that's pretty solid on their part. Yeah, they're pretty much going to have us dead. So here, let's lead on the Branchwalker. We'll keep that on top. Just make our stuff as big as possible. They haven't shown flyers, they haven't shown evasion, other than like tap down effects. So J-Light Ranger makes that bigger. We can still block there. They don't have enough mana to proliferate. Good thing we held the Harpooner. It can attack, hit that. Alright, so we block here. Block here. Block here. We take 3. Okay, so they have the dive down. We weren't going to double block anyways because we would have been dead. We're a mana short. I think we need to play this, put a 1/1 counter on it, and have it fight that. Okay, so opponent's gonna be able to proliferate. That's 4 or 5 mana to proliferate. 5 mana. I think they would have got more utility out of proliferating. It's a cool deck though. Like a Merfolk, Tribal. Opponent concedes. If they would have proliferated, it would have made blocks a little awkward. We'll play one more. After this game, we'll probably wrap it up for now. I'll put the full replay obviously up on YouTube, like all my other videos. Turbo out Carnage. Die to Chain Whirler. Sounds like my type of game. Want to try out just to see how this loots thing works as well. So more lands obviously is not where we want to be. But not seeing a red on one is pretty good. Grixis of some sort. Wow, just all lands, all ramp. We're just gonna naturally curve into Carnage Tyrant at this point. Thief of Sanity. If this is Grixis, they're gonna have a hard time dealing with a Carnage Tyrant. So unless they Ritualist Soot, we're going to be able to play this. This 1-for-1 removal is not really going to do much. Say hello to Carnage T. And another good part is even if they have the Eldest Reborn, Llanowar Elves serves as insulation. Just give this haste. They did show Moment of Craving, but I want to get in as much damage as possible. That's fine. You can have a mountain. So 1 damage off. This card just destroys Grixis. They had a chance for land Eldest Reborn, but at that point their life total is pretty low. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to wrap it up now. If you enjoyed the content and you want to check out any of our other videos, they're all on the playback list. We do the budget ones, there's a budget playlist, and then constructed, War of the Spark features, everything will be on the channel. If you are enjoying the content, please make sure to subscribe. Costs you nothing and goes a long way to show your support. And I'm just going to test this out to see how the loot works. I want to see how intrusive the actual video is. They got me doing one of the caption ones. So let's try this again. So let's see. Is that working? Alright, so we're going to wrap up. Thanks for those who tuned in live, and if you missed it live, you could tune into everything on the channel. Thanks for watching, and have a great one.